Imagine a world without sound in its films. No dialogue, no music, just flickering images on a screen. In those early days of cinema, audiences relied entirely on what they could see, not what they could hear. Yet a small man with a funny walk, a tiny moustache, and a cane makes millions laugh without saying a word. He became a symbol of hope and humor, lighting up the silent world with his unforgettable presence. His eyes, his smile, and his movements told stories that crossed every border. Without uttering a single line, he could express 1,000 emotions, making people from every corner of the globe feel connected. This was the magic of Charlie Chaplin. He turned the limitations of silence into a universal language, one that everyone could understand and enjoy. More than a comedian, he was a universal storyteller. Chaplin's films were filled with clever humor, but also with deep compassion and insight into the human condition. The Little Tramp became a friend to audiences everywhere, showing that laughter is a language everyone understands. His characters' struggles and triumphs reflected the hopes and dreams of ordinary people. Chaplin's genius was capturing the human spirit, joy and sorrow in its purest form. He could make us feel the pain of loss and the warmth of love, all without a single spoken word. He could make you cry with a glance, then have you roaring with laughter moments later. His performances were a masterclass in emotion, timing, and physical comedy. His films were not just gags, they were profound explorations of what it means to be human. Through his art, he asked us to look at ourselves and each other with empathy and understanding. Even today, Chaplin's silent films captivate and inspire, their emotions timeless. New generations continue to discover his work, finding joy and meaning in his timeless stories. The struggle for dignity, the search for love, and the joy of kindness are as relevant now as a century ago. Chaplin's films remind us that no matter the era, our hearts beat with the same hopes and fears. Charlie Chaplin taught us that silence can be more powerful than words, and the greatest stories speak directly to the soul. His legacy endures, echoing through every smile and tear his films inspire. Charles Spencer Chaplin was born in London in 1889 into poverty and hardship. His parents were music hall entertainers, but their careers faded, and his father's alcoholism and mother's illness left Charlie and his brother to fend for themselves. Sent to the workhouse, he learned about hunger, loneliness, and the resilience of the poor. These early struggles shaped his art, inspiring characters like the Tramp. Instead of breaking him, hardship became his creative fuel. At 5, he first took the stage, charming a hostile crowd with his mimicry. He joined a clog dancing troupe, touring Britain's music halls, a tough but invaluable education. There he mastered timing, physical comedy, and the art of connecting with an audience. These formative years honed the skills that would make him a global superstar. The boy who knew hunger and abandonment was building the foundation for a career that would conquer the world. In 1910, a young Charlie Chaplin crossed the Atlantic with the Fred Karno troupe, eager to make his mark in America. His talent for physical comedy and expressive pantomime quickly caught the eye of Keystone Studios, a bustling hub for silent film innovation. Hollywood in those days was a whirlwind of energy and chaos, with filmmakers experimenting and inventing on the fly. Amidst this creative storm, Chaplin sensed the need for a character who could stand out from the crowd and connect with audiences on a deeper level. One afternoon, searching for inspiration, he rummaged through the studio's costume closet and threw together baggy trousers, a tight, ill-fitting coat, and a battered bowler hat, oversized shoes that seemed to trip over themselves, a slender cane, and a toothbrush moustache. In that moment, the Little Tramp was born, a character both instantly funny and deeply human. The Tramp was a gentleman and a dreamer, always hopeful but also a lonely outcast wandering the city streets. His mismatched clothes and awkward walk symbolized his struggle, aspiring to dignity yet forever trapped by poverty and circumstance. Audiences instantly loved this underdog who faced adversity with a smile, turning misfortune into laughter and hope. With the Tramp, Chaplin's career soared to new heights, making him a household name around the world. He demanded creative control, insisting on writing, directing, and even editing his own films to ensure his vision came to life. He placed the Tramp in stories that were not only hilarious, but also deeply moving. blending comedy with moments of real emotion. The Birth of the Tramp marked Chaplin's discovery of his true artistic voice, allowing him to speak to audiences without words. He created a timeless icon, a silent friend who would wander into the hearts of millions, generation after generation. The Tramp became a symbol of hope, resilience, and the enduring human spirit, inspiring people everywhere to keep going no matter the odds. Through Chaplin's artistry, silent comedy became a universal language, one that could make the world laugh, cry, and dream together. As his fame soared, Chaplin co-founded United Artists in 1919, a bold move that gave him full creative freedom and control over his work. This was a rare privilege in Hollywood at the time, and it allowed him to shape his films exactly as he envisioned. He became a true auteur, overseeing every detail, from writing and directing to editing and even composing music. Chaplin's hands-on approach set him apart from his peers. His perfectionism was legendary, often requiring dozens of takes for a single scene, but the results were cinematic masterpieces that stood the test of time. Films like The Kid and The Gold Rush blended humor and heartbreak, making audiences care deeply for his characters. Chaplin's stories were simple, but the emotions they evoked were profound and universal. Chaplin believed the closest thing to laughter was a tear. He understood that comedy and tragedy were two sides of the same coin, and he used both to connect with viewers on a deeply human level. He could create pure comedic genius like the dinner roll dance, then show crushing loneliness in the same film. This unique blend of joy and sorrow became his signature style. For Chaplin, comedy was more than entertainment. It was a vehicle for profound emotional expression, a way to explore the full range of human experience. When sound arrived, he resisted, believing it would destroy the universal art of pantomime. Chaplin felt that silent film could reach across language barriers and touch anyone, anywhere. He continued making silent films like City Lights and Modern Times, using music and sound effects but little dialogue. These films proved that emotion and story could be conveyed without words. These films were huge successes, drawing crowds around the world and proving his artistry transcended trends and technology. Chaplin showed that comedy could be sophisticated, emotional, and timeless, capable of moving audiences to both laughter and tears. He was the undisputed king of his craft, a master storyteller who won the world's heart and inspired generations of filmmakers. Even today, his films remain a testament to the enduring power of laughter and tears, reminding us of the beauty and complexity of the human spirit. As World War II loomed, Chaplin could no longer remain silent. He saw the rise of Hitler and used their uncanny similarities as a weapon. In 1940, he released The Great Dictator, a daring satire mocking fascism. Chaplin played both a humble Jewish barber and the dictator Hinkle, lampooning Hitler with comedic brilliance. The film was risky. America hadn't entered the war, and many wanted to avoid controversy. Chaplin financed it himself, determined to confront tyranny. Beneath the comedy was a powerful plea for humanity and a condemnation of anti-Semitism. The film's climax features Chaplin's first real on-screen speech, a passionate call for peace and decency. "Let us fight for a new world," he implored, transforming satire into a manifesto for hope. The Great Dictator cemented Chaplin's legacy as both artist and humanitarian. Chaplin's outspoken views made him a target during America's Red Scare. FBI Director J. Edgar Hoover saw him as a dangerous radical, and the press attacked his politics and personal life. His film Monsieur Verdoux, a dark satire, fueled the controversy. Chaplin declared, "I am not a communist, I'm a peacemonger." But his words were twisted. The US turned its back on him. Theaters boycotted his films. In 1952, while sailing to London, Chaplin's re-entry permit was revoked. He refused to submit to a humiliating inquiry and chose not to return. Exiled, he settled in Switzerland, finding peace with his family. He continued to work, composing music and writing his autobiography. Though silenced by political fear, Chaplin refused to let bitterness define his final years. The man who made the world laugh found solace in a new home. In Switzerland, Chaplin found peace with his wife Una and their children. The Manoir de Balme became a lively, happy home, far from the storms of exile. He built a studio, creating films like A King in New York, satirizing the paranoia that had driven him away. As America's political climate softened, a new generation rediscovered Chaplin's genius. In 1972, the Academy invited him back to Hollywood for an honorary Oscar. The audience gave him a 12-minute standing ovation, the longest in Oscar history. In 1975, he was knighted by Queen Elizabeth II, bringing his story full circle. Chaplin passed away in 1977, leaving a legacy of laughter and humanity. The little boy from London's slums became a knight and a king of comedy. Charlie Chaplin's influence on cinema is immeasurable. He pioneered the role of the filmmaker as auteur, writing, directing, producing, and starring in his own films. His blend of slapstick and grace set a standard for comedy and storytelling. The Little Tramp became a universal symbol of resilience and hope. Chaplin's films proved that comedy could be deeply moving and socially relevant. He used his art to challenge injustice, as in Modern Times and The Great Dictator. His legacy inspired generations to use film as a force for change. Chaplin's silent films transcend language and time, speaking to our shared humanity. A century from now, people will still laugh and cry with The Tramp. The silent voice of Charlie Chaplin continues to unite us all. Modern comedians owe much to Chaplin's legacy. Rowan Atkinson's Mr. Bean, with his physical comedy and childlike innocence, is a direct descendant of The Tramp. Roberto Benigni's Life is Beautiful channels Chaplin's blend of humor and tragedy, using laughter as a tool for survival. Even Sacha Baron Cohen, with his provocative characters, follows Chaplin's tradition of using comedy for social critique. What sets Chaplin apart is the gentle humanism at the heart of his work. The Tramp is mischievous but never cruel, always seeking love, connection, and dignity. Chaplin's films are comforting and timeless, rooted in compassion. He was not just a comedian, but a philosopher of the heart. Modern comedians make us laugh and think, but few touch our souls like Chaplin. The silent master's gentle, profound power endures in every laugh and every tear.